funniest outcome is going to win. And man, Hillary coming back for a fucking rematch and then losing again. Mwah.
Okay.
Well, like if
If
Hillary won the presidency by like 0.79 points, and then like 3 months in, the Supreme Court's like, yeah, actually, this lawsuit by the Solicitor General of Oklahoma, where he wants to kill the president, is okay, and we're making it so this guy, this guy named Kevin Schlegs, who's won an election in Oklahoma with 7,000 votes in a Republican primary, gets to just shoot Hillary in the head. Like he files some lawsuit under like the law that like Thomas Jefferson used to fight the Barbary pirates, and they're like, yeah, actually no, that it turns out that because Hillary's dad actually went to Morocco and the Merchant Marines, this guy can actually kill her because it's the state's jurisdiction to kill the Barbary pirates, and we have no reason to believe that she isn't one, and he's just going to shoot her directly in the skull on the White House lawn. And then it will be the most fundraising emails ever. It'll be like Nancy Pelosi will still be speaker. It'll be like, Felix, my heart is racing. When I heard that they're killing an American president legally, I thought we need to get out and vote this midterm. And it's like the full court response is Bill Maher like showing clips of like Mitch McConnell in 2018 being like, I don't think it's ever right to use laws meant to fight the Barbary pirates to kill a president. And they'll be like, oh, well, what about that? Okay. Looks like you said that.
Well, I mean, it's hilarious though, but like, I mean, it's not too far off because I mean, like with the Supreme Court now, like anything they want to do, they're going to do. I mean, like, because you know, we talked about Roe v. Wade.
EPA, bye.
Yeah, Roe v. Wade, like that, like that's the huge one, and like it's something that like you know a lot of people thought was like unthinkable, but now, I mean, like just in this term, gun control, that's gone. Like you can now conceal carry in New York City. Which is going to be great. EPA, yeah, it just not just the EPA, but the ramifications are the entire administrative state. The ability of the executive branch through cabinet positions to regulate any aspect of, I don't know, the amount of poison that you breathe or drink in water, that's gone, and then along with everything else that entails as well. Prayer in school. Prayer in public school, that's now allowed.
I love
and then,
the 90s.
And as you talked in the next term, the very real possibility that they will just decide that state legislatures get to decide who wins the presidential election. Gotta say,
it's very hard for me to understand why they took that case if they weren't intending to fucking to affirm it, because this is not a question that otherwise anyone would entertain, you know, unless they're fucking it and being legends. And I think everybody, and this includes myself, who at any point in their life ever entertained the, you know, game theory fucking ninth dimensional chess, I'm a really smart, canny political operator, thought of, well, the Republicans will never overturn Roe because then that eliminates it as a mobilizing tool. That was a smart take that a lot of people had and that I entertained several times. And what it really overlooks is that, yeah, you're thinking like a Democrat. Democrats don't actually believe anything or want to accomplish anything. Republicans actually represent, like throughout its entire corpus, up to Supreme Court justices, a coherent set of policies moving towards a goal, which means that when you get them in a position like the Supreme Court, they're not going to think tactically. They're going to think about a longer term project that they have fucking dedicated their life
to. Also, like, there's no point. I mean, like, the necessity of thinking tactically goes out the fucking window when you get to essentially decide who wins elections and who doesn't, and who can vote.
Indeed. That's the thing, is that they're always assuming the other thing behind that is you lose a mobilizing tool, and those Democrats, they're going to really organize against you, and now they're going to have an advantage there. And it's like, not if you just change how voting works.
I mean, look, if you interpret the law through the deeply rooted traditions of the American history, and by deeply rooted, I mean like in a country that's about 100 years old, you know,
right?
Deeply rooted. If you live in a major urban area, you are now a Barbary pirate.
Indeed.
Yeah. you are now subject to piracy law. And you think you could certainly vote in a fucking presidential election? Are you crazy? We don't let pirates vote. They're doing
ridiculous.
piracy. They're doing privateering, not without the flag of any country. Yeah. So like, yeah, this idea that there's going to be some sort of like, I mean, it just it puts the absolute hopelessness to like, okay, vote now more than ever. And I guess
Yeah.
like maybe there's some truth to that because it may be the last time you're allowed to do so.
Indeed. I mean, the thing is, like, you can't get mad at a certain point. If you're mad at the Democrats for saying don't vote or just go out and vote, it means that you were expecting something else to happen, that you had some belief that in its deepest reserves, when pressed to a real like moment of truth, that the Democrats could rise to an occasion. Like you had that belief, and that's okay, but you have to accept that that's what that was. And that now you're realizing the truth that was always there, which is that they will not do anything. They cannot do anything except ask you to donate and vote. That's what they. What is the other option? The kind of as we talked about, the kind of escalation that we are all demanding. Pack the court, whatever the fuck. Use the National Guard to enforce the opening of abortion clinics. It's like to do that they would have to engage the populace, which they can't do, and because of that they think they would lose and they would be annihilated. So out of self-preservation, they will do nothing other than stare into the headlights like deer. And if you expect anything else from them from now on, then you're just willfully like re-enchanting yourself so that you can think somewhere in your heart, yes, voting will make a difference because maybe something will happen. Some change will occur that will reveal that, oh yeah, these people actually, the Grinch did have a heart the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to take the last three major rulings, right, which are, or the ones that people are upset about, at least, and rightfully so. I mean, Roe v. Wade, the states don't have to have presidential elections, and the deconstruction of the administrative state. What is that telling you? That's telling you that one side of American politics is, they're not just saying, let's kill the golden goose. They're saying, we're killing the golden goose because it's out of eggs. Yeah. There's nothing left. There's no future. Yeah. We're going to squeeze the last bits of pulp out of the orange and then throw the rind at you because fuck you.
Yeah. And then we're going to have...
It's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. And the Democrats aren't good enough performers to go up there and say, no, the goose still has a little bit in it.
Yeah.
No, let's keep this goose going.
Yeah,
She's healthier than ever.
Really useful for you. The Democratic Party as a dance partner, we're doing so much for you. And they realize, you have no institutional legitimacy in any sense. So we can just take all of this, and then they will. And the thing is, if you're really scared of that in like a hopeless sense of like, this is the apocalypse, this is going to be the end of the world or the Handmaid's Tale, it's because you fundamentally have no faith in people. You know what I mean? Because your assumption is that when things get really bad, not just the Democratic Party will be frozen and unable to do anything, but that every other person who like makes up the country is going to act the same way. And that I don't think is true. I think everyone else, the mass of people's relationship to these institutions is absolutely different than the relationship that the Democratic Party officials and apparatchiks have with that party. It's like if anyone saw Crimes of the Future, it's Indeed. Like the fucking bed that like the bio bed that was like made out of skin and that you're connected to by tubes. Like they are stuck in this paradox where action destroys where they are either way, and so they just don't act. That's not true of everybody else. We all have lives that don't depend on the Democratic Party fundraising spigot for survival, and things are going to get worse for a lot of us very quickly, and we're going to have the native instinct to resist, and that's going to get, the question is, what institutions are going to be built up apart from the Democratic Party in this crisis moment that can channel and resonate that energy when it occurs? Like, by the way, if you have faith that people are people, then you can't be too scared of what's coming, because my God, at least it will be a change. Because the thing that just drives me crazy about the people freaking out about this whole trend and just screaming at the Democrats to do anything is that, okay, the Democrats do right the ship and they take power and they hold power and they stave off this fascism. It's not going to be because they did the stuff you want them to do, like pack the courts. As we've said, they can't do that. It'll be because for the time being, there's enough suburbanites comfortable enough to not want to do this and to kind of push the Democrats in the very short term up the ladder enough electorally to fend them off. What does that accomplish? How does that change the conditions of collapse that we're in? To have the Democrats sticking around, to have 4 more years of Brandon. You're not preventing anything. You're only extending this period of just static decline, where there is a slow motion apocalypse where no one is recognizing it. A condition where people are forced to recognize what's happening is a completely different dynamic, and all of this stuff that makes us feel completely frozen would not apply. And at a certain point, you have to not be afraid of that or try to pretend it's not a possibility, because it will only drive you to neurotic distraction, trying to figure out a fantasy escape hatch that does not exist, which is exemplified, I think, most by people who scream at Democrats to do something.